Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of What Ted Says, where it's always time to get a fatter wallet and a bigger net worth. That's what we do here at What Ted Says. We have a lot of fun every week shooting these episodes and giving you great personal financial hacks, social media tips, entrepreneur tips, and much, much more, even some fun stuff. Wait till you see what we got coming down the road. As always, I appreciate it when you share this with your friends, and if you click the button subscribe, this is your first time watching, or you watch one or two of my videos already, just click that button subscribe. Always make sure to press the notifications button, and that way you can get all of this great information to be able to improve your life, to get that fatter wallet, to get that bigger net worth. And today I'm talking about a topic that people ask Ted all the time. Who's that? Me. They ask me that question. What Ted says about cutting the cord, and that is what I'm going to talk about today. Let's start with first things first, which is what is your current situation before we even get into all the services and does it make sense or not? And the first question you want to ask yourself is, am I paying at least $50 a month for the cable service itself? Now, you may have all kinds of packages. You subscribe to HBO or now HBO Max, and you've got Showtime or Starz or Cinemax or any of those channels on top of the basic cable. But most of the really good packages that I'm going to talk about are about $50 a month or more. So if you're in that range already, there's a good chance that it'll make sense to think about doing this. If for some reason you're paying less than that, it's possible, but largely that $50 number would be a good number. The second question you want to ask yourself is, do you have home internet service? Now, I'm going to say for most of you that the answer is probably yes. But if you don't for some reason, it's just no reason to basically just cut the cord in and of itself. But if you have home internet service, there's going to be a way here that I'll talk about that you won't have to necessarily stay with your current provider, but be able to bundle just either internet and streaming, or do the internet and streaming separate, which is the way that I did it. And this will be a way for you to get started for cutting the cord. A third one in here that you might be thinking about is, do you just not enjoy cable at all? Like, I eventually just got sick of it. There were 800 channels, which might sound good on its surface until you realize you just keep pressing that remote and not really seeing anything that you like. And then you get into the Spanish channels and then into ESPN, the Ocho, and it just really didn't make any sense. But more importantly, do you really hate the aesthetics? I just got tired. Every cabinet bundled with cords and cords on top of cords. So part two in here is where we get to the considerations. And the first consideration is internet service. Now, you don't have to be an expert on all of this, but one of the questions you want to ask is how many megs, or I used to say Mbps, Mbps, how many of those do you actually have? And this really talks about the speed of your system. Now, you're going to see articles out there that I will tell you flat out are wrong, that you need about 45 Mbps or MB in terms of being able to have for speed. I would say 100 megabytes is really about what you want to have if you're thinking about going streaming. Now, it does depend on the size of your house, how many rooms that you're going to have it in, and I want you to consider for a second that speed is important, because unless you use an Ethernet cord and you're going to hardwire the way that you do the streaming service, most of you will actually do this via Wi-Fi. And if you've got a larger house, you're going to have to build yourself an extender network, or I'll talk about how I did it with Google Home, that you're going to build a mesh network, and you're going to want to have speed. I will tell you today, having done all of the research, that getting yourself 300 megabytes or 500 megabytes, or even what I did, which is a gig of speed, is actually not near as expensive as you think it is. And some of you that are with the big cable companies, it actually may end up being cheaper when you unbundle the services with your internet speed. The next piece of this is thinking about what you're going to do with your overall streaming services. And by the way, I know that this can be very confusing. I feel like every day you see something new. They say it's Peacock, or I've got Apple TV, or I've got Netflix, or I've got Sling, or I've got YouTube TV. I mean, you get so many choices that are out there, but you want to be thinking about the streaming services in terms of the basic kinds of channels do you want? Did you want local TV? Is that important to you? Are sports important to you? Is it important to you to still have HGTV and the Food Network? I think most of you will find that if you really dial down to what you actually watch, you probably don't watch more than 8 to 12 channels on a consistent basis. Yes, every once in a while you stumble on an AMC movie or something like that, but different services will give you a different number of channels. And then depending upon what you get, there are even free services out there, but largely what you get are basically crappy movies and crappy channels. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't do free, I'm just telling you that you want to be thinking about those streaming services. And then the last part of this is thinking about what you're going to do in terms of your TVs. Now, there are TVs out there that are smart TVs. Immediately when you click to the main screen, you can quickly get to YouTube TV or any of these other services that I'm going to talk about. If you've got an older TV, recognize that you may have to make a decision to move to a smart TV, or you may have to go to one of these services like getting a Roku stick or getting an Amazon Fire TV stick or something like that that would allow you to power this ability to get streaming service in your TV. Once you choose the streaming service, then you've got to think about your features. And one big feature may be DVR. I feel a lot of people like to do DVR because they just want to watch the shows when they want to watch them, or maybe binge a certain series. And so some of these streaming services will have unlimited DVR. Some in the DVR, they'll give you unlimited DVR, but then they'll only store them for a certain amount of time. I remember when I had Comcast cable, I basically had a terrible DVR in there. It actually had hardly any storage at all, or they would try to jack you up to pay more money for DVR storage. So this is something that you've got to look at. The second thing in here is you've got to look at ad skipping. The truth is, on some of these services, especially your free services or ones that don't cost a lot of money, you may actually have to watch the ads. And I know there are people that absolutely would pay anything to get rid of the ads. I know this. I'm actually an Amazon Prime member, and I wanted to watch Mad Men, but I didn't want to watch the commercials, and I think I had to pay $4.99 for the entire year just to skip the ads. You know what? $5 of my time is worth it. Now, not all of us are fortunate enough to have that $5, so if you don't, you may have to watch ads. But that's something that you're going to want to look at, is ad skipping, and you're also going to want to look at simultaneous streams. Some of the services, you may only be able to stream the service on so many TVs in your home, or in some of them, you may only be able to simultaneously do a certain amount of devices at the same time. A good example is on YouTube TV, you can't do more than 3 devices at the same time. So you could actually have devices in different homes where you've granted people the access to use YouTube TV, but it would still only be 3 devices at one time. So understand how that works when you make the streaming service purchase. If you are going to choose a live TV streaming plan and cut the cord and you're on a budget, the best budget live TV streaming service, I believe, is Sling TV, which is roughly $30 a month. And they've been around for a while. The two that I like the best are Hulu plus the live TV, which is about $54.99 a month, but it's going to go up to $65.99 a month. Or you can use what I chose, which is YouTube TV, which is currently $64.99 a month. And I do believe it is the single best cable TV replacement out there. Obviously, there are other ones, like I said, that are free or of low cost, but I think if you're going to make the switch, that's going to be the best way to go at it. So when I cut the cord, I ultimately did YouTube TV. Not that this was a bad or a good decision, but I ultimately chose Google as a platform, and my experience as a user is so much better, I believe, because I have all the devices that work on the same system, the same way, with the same technology. And by doing that, the user experience for my family was a lot better. When it comes to stream, I haven't missed cable TV at all. I basically get all the channels really that I need. And by the way, if you're an Amazon Prime member like I am, it's very easy to get to Amazon Prime. We actually did choose as a family to buy Netflix as well because we like some shows on there. So all in, we're at about $80 a month for the total stream, if you will, with Netflix. And I got 1 gig on a deal for 1 year from AT&T for around $60. So I had a cable bill at one point that was around $350. When I completely cut the cord, I went down to roughly $140 a month. That's a $210 a month saving when it was all said and done. or $2,500 a year, and we're going to enjoy that extra money in the What Ted Says household. So if you like this, I want to know, did you actually cut the cord? And if you did, what did you choose and why? Let me know, leave a comment. Do you disagree with me? Do you think YouTube TV is not the best? I want to know why, but if you like this, click subscribe, because I give you these life lessons here at What Ted Says, and I give you financial tips and these biohacks, I call them financial biohacks, to help you put more money so you can get that fatter wallet, so you can have a bigger net worth, because that's what we're doing here at What Ted Says. As always, click subscribe, press the notification button, share this with your friends. Thanks for watching this episode of What Ted Says.